So today I'm going to be doing a mini tutorial explanation on how I made the fringe maxi skirt that you guys love so much. So it's going to be in 3 parts. The first part would be making the base of the skirt, which is just going to be a mini skirt. Part 2 is going to be making the fringes for the skirt. And then part 3 will be putting it all together. So in order to make the base of the skirt, you're gonna need a sequin yarn, and then you can choose any like solid yarn of your choice. This is cotton. I recommend cotton or bamboo, but you can use acrylic as well. When making the skirt, you're gonna be working these 2 yarns at the same time. In order to make the base of the skirt, I just used the V-stitch to create a mesh look. If you want a full tutorial on how to make a mini skirt using the V-stitch, go to my Valentine's Day dress tutorial, part 1. It'll be linked down below, and I will put the timestamps of where the tutorial part for making a base skirt like this is. For mine personally, I did no increases, no decreases. All I did was add a elastic waistband to make it really nice and tight on the waist, and then kept the same measurements all the way down. And you're just gonna wanna make a mini skirt that fits you. If your lower waist is much smaller than your hips and butt, you're gonna wanna put increases on the sides here so that the skirt expands. And like I said, if you watch the tutorial on the crochet rose dress, you can get more information on how to make like a well-fitting mini skirt for you. With the V-stitch, you can do 2 double crochets, 2 chains, and 2 double crochets into the same stitch, or you can do 1 double crochet, 1 chain, 1 double crochet into the same stitch. For this one, I did 2, 2, and 2, so 2 double crochets, 2 chains, 2 double crochets into the same stitch. In the rose dress tutorial, I did 1 double crochet, 1 chain, 1 double crochet, and that's just going to control how tight or how loose the mesh is going to look. If you do 1 double crochet, it's probably going to look more open. Both would work, and if you do 1 double crochet, 1 chain, 1 double crochet, you'll save a lot of yarn. So if you don't have a lot of sequin yarn, I recommend doing the mesh stitch the same way I did it in the rose tutorial. If you have enough material to work with, I would do it with 2 double crochets. It just looks more full. So I'm gonna put the timestamps right here so you can go look at that tutorial, and when you have the base of your skirt that fits you the way you want, we're gonna move on to step 2, which is making the fringes. So this is what the fringes look like, and it's just a bunch of chains that I created using 2 of the sequin yarns at the same time. So in order to create your fringes, you're gonna take 2 strands of sequin yarn at the same time, and you're also gonna wanna use a larger hook. I'm using a 7mm, and you're just going to want to create very long fringes, and I'm gonna include a clip on how I measured the fringes. So in order to create the fringes for the skirt, what you're gonna wanna do is try on the base of your skirt. And once you try it on, you can pick either the bottom row first or the top row first. And you're gonna measure from that point, the top of the skirt, all the way down to where you want the fringe to end. And your chain should be double that length. And the reason I say double is because the fringes are folded here. When we apply them, we're gonna be applying it through this loop. So the length should be double. The reason you're going to want to go row by row is because the top row is going to be longer than the bottom row. If you want them all to be the same length, because you're going to be going from the top of the skirt to the floor as opposed to the bottom of the skirt to the floor, which is closer to the floor. So you're going to want to do that measurement row by row. So here I'm just chaining the 2 strands of yarn at the same time, and that's how you create a fringe. So this is what your chains should look like. It's just gonna look like one long sequin strand. The reason we do chains is because of how thin the cotton part of the sequin yarn is, and we don't want it to break or snap. So doing this will make the strands stronger. Now for the application process, when you put your hand through the skirt, you can better see the V's. These are the V's that make up our V-stitch, and there's going to be a hole in between each V. And now we're just going to apply the fringes through each pull. I recommend starting from the top of the skirt only because this skirt requires so many fringes in order to fill out every single V, and it's extremely time consuming. So I would recommend starting from the top and skipping every row to see if you're satisfied with the fullness of the fringe. And if you're not, then you can go back in between the rows and fill them out. So in order to apply the fringes, I'm just gonna put my hand through so you guys can see. We're gonna take our crochet hook and go through the V from the top and out from the back. So the way we're gonna apply our fringe is by folding it in half, and you're gonna have one side that has this curve where you fold it in half, and then you're gonna have the two ends of the fringe. You're always gonna be applying it with this loop. And once your crochet hook is through, you're just gonna pull right there, pull that through. Now that you have a loop, I just do it with my fingers, but once you have this loop pulled, you're gonna go through it and grab those two other sides of the fringe. And then pull. It looks a bit strange because I did a pink over gold, but I just wanted you guys to be able to see that clearly. Now I'm gonna show you what it looks like when I apply a gold fringe. So this was the V that we attached it to. This is our next V that's right next to it. So I'm gonna put my hook through and up. Pull the fringe at the halfway point where we folded it, always using the loop side. Once you have your loop pulled, you're just gonna wanna grab the two strands and pull it through the loop and tighten. I recommend not pulling up too high of a loop so that when you pull it, it's easier, because sequin yarn is really hard to like mess with. I'm gonna show the fringe application process one more time. It's easiest to see the rows of V's when you put your hand through the skirt. So we have the row here, the row here, the row we started with, and I just like to put my nails through where I'm about to put a fringe and kind of pinch it, and then put my hook through. So you're going in from the top, up from the back, and then pulling the loop at the halfway point. Oop. Pulling up that loop, going through the loop, So this is what the final skirt's gonna look like once you apply all of your fringes. Like I said, it's an extremely time-consuming project, but also requires a lot of yarn, not only for the base of the skirt, but especially for the fringes. So what I would recommend doing is just skipping every row to see if you're satisfied with the amount of fringes, trying it on, and if not, you can make it fuller as you go. But if you are satisfied, I would definitely recommend skipping the rows so you don't use as much yarn. I think another thing you can do to save on materials would be to, instead of working 2 balls of sequin yarn to make your fringe, you can use 1 ball of sequin yarn and 1 ball of your cotton yarn, or whatever other yarn you choose. The same way you make the base of the skirt using those 2 types of yarns, you can use those 2 types of yarns to make the fringe instead of 2 sequin yarns, because the fringes take up a lot of material and the sequin yarn is quite expensive.